Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Remedy Life with PK. Thank you so much for joining, for jumping on. Once you come in, please like, share, subscribe to my YouTube page. Again, thank you so much for being here on Life with PK tonight. As you come in, please share this as I think it is going to be a blessing for someone. My BFF is here. Hello, Pam. Pammy, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, as you're coming in, please do take the time to like this and share it. We want to spread it. We want to be able to bring the remedy to as many people as we can. We believe in not just bringing problems, but we bring the remedy, the solution. So that's what we're here for on tonight, as this is the month of May. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we all could use a little tune up or a little shaping in our mental health, and just ways to help better increase our moods in our life. So that's what we're talking about tonight. So we just pray that the Lord will get the glory out of this conversation. And I'm just going to dive in because, listen, I got another meeting after this. So jump in as quickly as you can. And if not, welcome to the replay if you don't get to catch us live. So we're here. Be sure to talk to me, and feel free to put some things in the comments, and I'll try to read as many as I can and respond as I can. But tonight Remedy's topic is our moods. So we're going to just talk a little bit about our moods, and I'm going to jump in as there seems to be so much attention and emphasis placed on our moods. And as women, oftentimes, and I know we have some men that are going to watch this too, and I love it, but as women, oftentimes we're expected to be calm and to be nurturing. We are the peacemakers. We're supposed to handle things with grace and with compassion. However, when we respond differently, when we start speaking our minds, when we stand up for ourselves, we get labeled as moody. And many of you know that moody, if someone calls you moody, they're usually using that in a negative connotation. But when men are assertive, when men speak their minds, they're called assertive. When they stand up for themselves, they're assertive. But women, we're labeled as moody. So let's talk about moods. What is the definition? Mood is defined as a measurable affective state that consists of a combination of emotions typically influenced by external events. So moods are broader and longer lasting than our emotions. So you can be angry one minute on your drive to work, and if you've been in a good mood all morning, but somebody has road rage while you're on the road, and so you get to work, and that there's a shift in your atmosphere, in your environment, because you started off in that good mood. Just because you experienced the emotion of anger in that moment doesn't mean you have to stay there. You could still be in a good mood and have a angry emotion. So your mood tends to last longer than your emotions. So we also have a thing called mood disorders. And mood disorders are mental illnesses that are characterized by extreme, chronic, elevated, or depressed moods that indicate pathology and disruptions in a person's life. So that could look like bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. It could be depression. It could be premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD. And premenstrual dysphoric disorder is a severe form of PMS involving intense mood swings, irritability, and depression. So, moms, you are not crazy. Like that one time a month, your kids, your teenage daughters may not just be evil, right? They may be experiencing PMDD, which is a severe, intense mood swings where they are very irritable, or they're sad, or they're depressed, or they're angry. And it could be from biological factors, which is what we're going to jump into next. Moods are impacted by our biological factors, and those are that could be a biological factor. I'm sorry, let me give you this first. Moods are impacted by biological factors, psychological factors, social environments, and spiritual factors. So you are not just moody for no reason. Even at times when you're feeling ambivalent or you just really don't know, you're feeling funky and you're not sure why you're feeling that way, nothing really has happened externally, but you're just in a mood. It could be a biological factor. It could be, what does that look like? Biological factors affect your physical body, they affect your energy and your emotional sensitivity. So that includes your menstrual cycles, which we just talked a little bit about, which could start impacting your body 7 to 10 days even before your cycle starts. You might be tired, you might be irritable, you might be weepy. All of these things can come from your mood. Also, pregnancy. If you've ever been pregnant, you have all types of hormones. You don't want to be bothered. There's certain things you don't want to smell. There's certain things that you cannot eat. You can't stomach. Certain people, perfumes and things like that. It's all because of your pregnancy hormones. Then we have the great thing called menopause. Anybody there or close to being there? Menopause, you can be great one moment. You can be cold 1 minute, hot 1 minute. You could be tired and have tons of energy the next moment, and then you can have all of these strange body aches. So these are all things that will impact your biological factors. And next we have the thyroid glands, and your thyroid produces hormones and they regulate your body temperature, your menstrual cycles, and other bodily functions. So if you have a thyroid imbalance, it can affect your mood. So potentially it can lead to depression or anxiety. So if you have mood swings where you have elevated moods, restlessness, nervousness, panic attacks, or you're irritable, you could be experiencing hyperthyroidism. And then hyper is going to be elevated, it's going to be up. And then if you have hypothyroidism, you might be tired or lethargic, or you might not be able to think straight or concentrate. And then so you might want to get your thyroids checked. So next we have neurotransmitters, and these are chemical balances that regulate our moods, our stress levels, our happiness. So if your balance is thrown off, your mood could be thrown off as well. So if these chemical imbalances or balances are off in your brain, then and something is not going correctly with your neurotransmitters, then guess what? Your mood can be impacted by that. The next thing that can be impacted is your lack of rest or your sleep. So if you don't rest well, if you don't sleep well at night, that affects your mood. You might find yourself when you wake up, you're irritable. You might have difficulty concentrating during the day. And it's not just because you're in a bad mood, it's because you haven't rested. Your body has to recover, your body has to restore itself. That's why God created sleep. That's why He created rest, because we need to rest so our body can heal and recover. So, lack of rest and lack of sleep, it could look like insomnia. Insomnia is when you have trouble falling asleep, but then you also have trouble staying asleep once you get to sleep. So you might find yourself waking up in the middle of the night and you're like wide awake, like it's daylight. And then when you finally are able to go back to sleep, then you have trouble getting up because your body is still tired from that lack of rest. So that's insomnia. And then we also have a word called somnolence, and it is excessive sleepiness. It is excessive sleepiness, especially during the daytime, or it is a strong desire for sleeping for long periods of time. So it's just like you just want to sleep, and day feels like night because you feel like you're supposed to be in the bed. That's somnolence. So moods can also be impacted by psychological factors. Those psychological factors could be stress, anxiety, worry, trauma, unresolved trauma, any type of emotional wounds like rejection or abandonment can affect you psychologically. It looks like work life balance or imbalance where you're overextending yourself. You're not getting enough rest. You're not eating healthy or doing things that you need to take care of yourself. So those things can impact you psychologically. Have you heard of that term, Superman or Superwoman syndrome? Has anybody ever heard of that? That be all where you feel like you got to try to be everything to everybody. You got to be everything at work. You got to be everything at home. You're the one that the family calls on for every single thing. That be all. I got to be 100% all the time. I'm pouring out, I'm giving, I'm doing, and nobody is giving me time to rest or nobody is really pouring back into me. Guess what? You need to check yourself. If that is you and you are experiencing that superwoman or superman syndrome, you really have to consider changing your lifestyle because it is unhealthy. It causes a serious mental strain and exhaustion, and that is not good for you physically, mentally, or emotionally. All right, let's keep going. Your social environment affects your moods, how you grew up, your culture, your beliefs, your morals, your values, and that impacts like your relationships, your marriage, your friendships, your family relationships. Like, do you feel supported in your family? Do you feel that you have friends that you can talk to, that you can trust, that you can spend time with? Hey, Katana, I love you. Thank you so much for joining. Do you have people that when you're going through or when you're having a stressful day that you feel that you have a safe place where you can be seen and supported and feel safe in that? So we all need a good support system because sometimes we life be lifing, right? And when life starts lifing, we got to have an outlet, and a great outlet is a therapist. But guess what? You got to make an appointment with your therapist. You got to get on your therapist schedule. So it's great to have a therapist. Guess what? I recommend it highly. But it's also good to have a few close friends or family members that you can spend some time with, that you can call up when you need to, when you're having a bad day or even when you're having a good day, because you need that sense of social support. So that affects your mood. All of those things affect your social environment. And next we have the spiritual factors. Whether you're praying, whether you're fasting, if you're meditating, if you're doing these things, if you have a relationship with God, if you have a good relationship with the Father, if you have a good relationship with the church or some type of spiritual connection, you're usually going to feel more peaceful. Even when situations shift or things happen or your mood fluctuates, if you've been praying, if you've been meditating, you spending time in your word, then normally you'll have that peace, that sense of peace. Like, things come and things go, but I still have peace. That peace is found in Philippians 4:7, that peace that surpasses all understanding. I know people think that you should have lost your mind by now, but you still have peace. Why? Because that spiritual peace, you've been praying, you've been fasting, you're walking, you're living by faith, you're taking care of your spiritual health and wellness, and that thing will keep you in a place of peace. It'll keep you in a place of joy. Your mood will normally be more uplifted. You're able to focus, you're able to concentrate and make good decisions. But on the flip side of that, the Bible tells us that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. He wants to destroy our minds. He wants to destroy our thoughts. He wants to take away our joy. He wants to destroy our bodies. So anything that the enemy can come in to wreak havoc on our lives, he's going to do that. He wants us to feel isolated. He wants us to be lonely and depressed and have thoughts of suicide or hurting ourselves or even hurting hurting someone else. He wants us to live a life in doubt and shame or fear or guilt, like we've done something wrong. He wants us to consider ourselves failures, which will keep our mind in a more negative state. He wants us to walk as believers in unforgiveness. And this is one of the biggest tools that the enemy uses, because unforgiveness, it not only impacts your mental or psychological thoughts, but it also can impact your body, how you feel. Why is that? Because when you are walking or living in unforgiveness, you have the emotions of bitterness, anger, hatred. You're easily annoyed. You're easily offended. You walk around in the spirit of offense and you're snappy. Why? Because you're angry because maybe that person never apologized for doing something wrong. Maybe they never said, I'm sorry to you. Maybe they wronged you. They forgot about it. They talked about you. They mistreated you. They stole from you. They hurt you in some type of way, but they never came back to make it right. They never came back to reconcile. And so you're left with all of these emotions and you just don't know what to do with them. So guess what? Forgive them. Forgive them anyway, because walking in unforgiveness can make you feel anxious. It can make you feel sick, sick to your stomach. And it can affect your physical health, and we do not want that. It can give you headaches and things like that because you're so angry and annoyed at that individual. But if you begin to walk in forgiveness, God said the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came that you might have life and life more abundantly. So when you begin to forgive people that wronged you, whether you get the apology or not, it allows you to release and overcome that emotional pain. It frees you from that inner turmoil and stress. So it is better to forgive and release them, even for the apology that you may never get, even if they've moved on from you in your life, even if you never get to express to them that you forgive them. If you say it and believe it in your heart, then you can free yourself from it. You can release yourself from that prison of unforgiveness. So our moods, they fluctuate. Then they fluctuate when we're stressed, when we're worried, when we're experiencing anxiety. They fluctuate due to our hormones. They fluctuate due to our external events. They fluctuate due to our relationships. If you have a big breakup, your mood may be depressed for several weeks or several months because of the breakup, because of that relationship, because of that pain. Your mood fluctuates from that lack of sleep, which we talked about, or fatigue. So this is why we ask the question, why is it that I might feel one way in the morning, another way at noon, and then in the evening I'm feeling a totally different mood or attitude? And this is why, because our moods are going to fluctuate due to all of these things, these factors, whether it's biological, psychological, spiritual, or social, due to your environment, depending on how your day went, how your boss talked to you, how much work you had that day, if you were overwhelmed in meetings, if people were just acting like nuts in your day, if folks were driving like nuts on the highway, or then maybe something great happened today and somebody brought you a donut or somebody brought you lunch that you didn't have to pay for. Your mood could switch, and that might put you in a better mood, a mood of gratitude, mood of thankfulness, because someone did something nice. So our moods can fluctuate, whether positively or negatively, depending on all of these things that I talked about today. So that is why you might wake up, and you can wake up, and some people, like in the morning, you're like, you just woke up. Why are you so angry? It's morning. But that could be due to their sleep patterns. Insomnia. They wake up angry because they have not had enough rest. So that's how you can wake up angry in the morning. You can go to work angry because road rage, and then you get to work and somebody brings you breakfast. That can shift your mood right there. That can shift your emotions from taking it from the negative and switching it to something that is more positive. So that is why you can have different moods, because your moods, your emotions, they fluctuate. That's why you've heard the saying, sometimes you feel like you're on an emotional what? Roller coaster, right? Because it is just going up and down, ebbs and flows all the time. So, what do we do about it? How can we control our moods and our emotions? I'm so glad you asked. We're not going to have time to do it tonight, but let's talk about it next week. Let's talk about it next week. But in the meantime, what I want you to do for me, if you're experiencing multiple mood swings throughout the day, throughout your week, if you have a journal or a pad where you can write on the top Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give yourself a week and begin to journal, keep a journal log of when your moods change, the times of day. Journal what situational things are happening at the time. Journal or write down how you slept that night. And then when you notice that your mood shifted or changed, what were you doing physically at the time when it changed? Write things like what you had to eat that day, if you exercised that day, who you were around that day. Did you do anything special, like things that you enjoyed? Did you go shopping that day? Or did someone make you angry at work? Or did you have a fight with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Or did your kids get a bad report or not do something that you needed them to do? So just kind of keep a log of what happened during that week. And once you journal it for a week. Don't just do it for a day, because you want to kind of be able to go and have some time to reflect from day to day of how it happened. So try to do it, if you're able to, for 7 days. Just jot down the different things that you experienced during that week, and then go back and reflect and see if any of those things, I'm glad that's helpful, Brittany. See if any of those things match up with how your mood changed and shifted throughout that day and then throughout the week, and see what you can find that is common to it. And then we can come back and we can talk about some of those things, and hopefully you'll feel like sharing, or you can always send me a DM and it'll give me some things that we can discuss for our next meeting. But as I said, tonight was going to be really quick because I have another meeting to jump in on. So thank you guys so much for being here for the remedy. I hope that you've learned something tonight. I hope that something has encouraged you, or at least gave you food for thought, as we are continuing to kind of increase our mental well-being is my goal. So to give you some tools and some resources to help you. Next week, again, we're going to talk about how to regulate our mood, how to respond when our moods and things are able to shift. So I hope this helps you. Please invite somebody. Love you too, Pammy. Please invite somebody to join us next week. Set your notifications. Tell your friends, set your notifications, because you're not just crazy. You're not just moody for no good reason. Something has probably happened or is happening inside your body or in your situation that we need to address and figure out how to make it better. So if you're able and if you would like to sow tonight, I think we're going to put the ways to give on the screen. If this has blessed you in any way and you want to sow a seed, what is the seed for? The seed is to bless the ministry, as we're going to have some things that are going to be coming up, hopefully before the end of the year. And it is going to give us the finances to do the things that we want to do. Also, I would like to do some master classes and some things like that, where I can go into more detail to help you understand some things about the mind, how it works with your attitude, your emotions, and also that spiritual aspect. So again, Life with PK, I hope to give you the best of the spiritual as well as the natural, and not only talk about problems, but to give you some solutions. So I hope that you've been blessed. I hope that you were able to sow a seed of whatever God put on your heart. And I pray tonight that you will rest, that your body can recover, and that you will wake up in the morning in a positive mood and have a great, blessed, peaceful, and prosperous day. I love you guys so much. Until next week, I see you right back here for the remedy at 7 o'clock.